Welcome to the Christie Taylor Show. I'm your host, Christie Taylor. Super excited to have you here for another great episode here inside the Taylor Tilton Hour on Tuesdays here on Comcast 31. You can also watch the replays on YouTube, as well as check us out on all your favorite podcast platforms. Now, today, I'm super excited to get to know a musical legend in the VA area, not too far from my birth city, DC. I'm super excited to have him, and we got to give a shout out to, once we get into the show, our connection. But I want to help you welcome to the show, Reggie Halsey Jr. He's the son of Reginald and Felicia Halsey. One of his most precious accomplishments is being the father of his three wonderful children, Deasia, LJ, and Taylor, who he eventually wants to leave his legacy and wealth. Music is certainly in Reggie's DNA, coming from a long line of singers and musicians. Now, he started at the tender age of 3, playing the drums. Now, soon after, he taught himself to play the keyboard and eventually was able to, check this out, fluently play 7 instruments. Now, Reggie has produced and accompanied many Grammy and Stellar nominated artists throughout his musical journey. Now, after a tragic accident, his life changed and music began to play a different role in his life. Now, he has now stepped back into the industry, but this time in a different nature. Reggie is not only writing, but performing his own music. With the power of God on his side, he is working harder than ever to share his God-given gifts and stay in the will of the Lord. I want you to help me welcome Reggie. Hey, welcome to the Christie Taylor Show. Very well.
Thank you so much.
Now, of course, we have to shout out our connection because you're all the way in VA and I'm all the way here in Memphis. Let's show some love to our amazing mutual friend.
You want me to do it?
Yeah, go ahead.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry. I was like, we want to give a shout out to Lydia. Thank you so much for the connection of getting me with Miss Christie. I'm really excited about this.
You know, and I had the pleasure of having her on as a guest earlier this year. And I just totally love her story and love her spirit and grateful that she's still connecting me with amazing people like you. Now, getting into your story, DNA, music is in your DNA. Can we talk about your long music legacy?
Yes, we can. We definitely can. One of the things that I grew up in this, and I can start from with the Soul Stirrers. My grandfather, Jim Halsey, was a member of the Soul Stirrers, and then he left the legacy on to my father and his brother, which his brother was a member of this group. One of the founding members of Virginia Airs, and my dad also sung in the quartet genre in this area, so they were very well known. And my dad married my mother, which is her entire family, 8 siblings, 3 brothers and 5 sisters, 4 sisters, I'm sorry, but they were big in the music, the Copeland singers. My uncle Tony Copeland is a professional jazz artist. So like I said, the DNA it's the X and the Y both had music in it, so I had no choice but to have music. But I've also done things with George Huff, and I played an MD for him and Patti LaBelle, and I did some work with the Mighty Clouds of Joy, Keith Wonderboy Johnson. I was a member of Ford. One of the world-renowned producers, Ray Braswell. I did some work with him. I've sat in and played for Darrell McFadden. Wow. I'm trying to remember all of the people that I've. There's been so many, and I've had such a different chance to play Jaheim on the R&B side. It's just been an amazing journey for me to be able to produce and to play and travel all over the world and just to play. I'm a natural keyboard player. Actually, I should say I'm a natural drummer. But shortly at the age of 13, I took over playing the keyboard, and that's actually what I began to be known for, was playing keyboard. So I actually did that for a while, and then my latter years before the accident, I picked up the bass. And that was another secondary instrument that I traveled playing, but I'm also fluent on the saxophone, the trumpet, the trombone, the organ, the flute, the guitar. So it's just, I'm
a true instrumentalist.
I love music. So music has definitely been in my background.
Well, Reggie is definitely not in the background. It's in the DNA. It's in the foreground. It's on. You had me at Soul Stirrers. Can I just pedal back to the Soul Stirrers? Here in Memphis, and I know if you're in the quartet world, you already know we got deep
Big,
roots when
deep
deep
roots,
roots.
very deep roots. Right.
And I was DC born, but my mom was from Mississippi originally, and they lived in Western Tennessee when she was growing up. So when we moved south, that was one of the first forms of beyond choir music that really captivated me was quartet.
Right.
And in the Baptist church, they would have singing unions, usually on the fifth Sunday. And
Right.
and I believe the church that we attended up in the rural, there was a history that the original Soul Stirrers had come to that smaller church, because back in the
Oh,
day,
wow.
the Chitlin
Wow.
Circuit. So, but even as I grew older, I just fell in love with the music, the Fairfield Forum. When you said the Mighty Clouds of Joy, come
Yeah,
on
that's
now.
right. Yeah,
Cats
this
and
this that's a
Spirituals.
bunch of them. Canton Spirituals. I'm actually that Harvey is definitely somebody I call him pops. I actually his birthday was just last week. We just text last week, and I text him and I told him happy birthday. So yeah, that's definitely when I went through this accident, he was a point of contact. I heard from him
Mhm.
like every other week. So yeah, that's definitely a good friend of mine.
Well, you know something, I saw people were posting that on social media. I said, look at him, still looking good, still looking good. I had
Thank you.
when I was in my gospel radio years, I had a chance to host a couple quartets, because oftentimes most people, I've had a very wide variety of musical history, mostly in gospel, but different genres. So when people found out that I had love for quartet, they were kind of surprised. It's like, you go from Amy Grant,
That's right.
to the Canton Spiritual, like, yes, Keith Wonderboy Johnson, come on now. So
Yeah.
I just love the harmonies. But I think when you're talking about the musical history that you have, I think what I find amazing is how you were able to really bridge together a lot of, like you said, both sides of your family, because quartet, and then you had an uncle who does jazz on your mom's
Yeah.
side. How has that influenced you in your musicality and as you approach music as a producer and a
Well,
writer?
the thing about it was I grew up more in the quartet genre, but what happened as being the genre and as me being a keyboard player, I started to broaden my skill level of playing and started to go over to the choir circuit and the contemporary circuit. So me being over that side and having musician friends and things of that sort kind of enabled me to uh, look at it in a different, in a different way. And I always, I get in trouble when I say this, but I always say, I love my worship music. Worship music, I feel like is changing. It's the music that kind of can change your life. But
Yeah.
there is nothing like quartet is feel good music. It's
Yes,
like
it
that type
is.
of music that the beat just resonates in you. And I mean, it just makes you want to move. And I'm not saying that, worship and contemporary music doesn't do that, but it's just, I call quartet music the blues and funk circuit of the
Yes.
contemporary.
You know,
That's kind of like that's our blues,
yes,
and I
that
love
is
it.
yes. I'm glad you said that, because if we can get, because I love music. Like I said, music was my first love before I ever did media. Broadway was my first ambition.
Oh
But
wow,
radio,
okay.
yeah, radio found me in college, and it really worked well with my temperament. But as I've gone through different chapters of my life, music I still find very intriguing. One of the things when you're talking about, because I went to a Christian university and praise and worship and very ultra contemporary music. Like I said, I grew up between Andre Crouch, James Cleveland, the Hawkins, Amy
Wow,
Grant,
okay.
Imperials, Russ Taff. That was the tapestry, the Clark sisters, coming from Baptist and Church of God in Christ and Pentecostal upbringing, then going to a very charismatic school. So I had a large tapestry, the Winans Commission, John P. Key, but when you talk about quartet, like I said, as a little girl, those singing unions and the hand clapping and the
That's
foot
right.
stomping
That's
and
right.
just the exuberance of the performances. So when I was in radio years, decades later, and I would see that, I was like, oh my God, they are the best performers. I will
That's
say
right. That's
they
right.
are the best performers out of everybody because they
That's right.
so much into it. And I will never forget when I first saw coming back to Memphis, the Brown Singers, and you had Andrew Cheers, and just a
Andrew
lot of
Cheers.
the stars
Yeah.
of just different classic groups here. And I saw that what I call the stroll down the aisle.
Down the aisle. That's right. That's right.
At that point, I would just have to jump up. I just had
That's
to.
right.
It's like the mic is at the table. You don't
That's
put it
right.
on, but I said that right there is some of the best performance. So I have a
That's right.
strong love and a very deep respect for quartet music, because it is our foundational music, just like blues. Out of blues and quartet, which is the same, even toning, we get into the musicality of it, chords and
Right.
things of that nature. The message was different. And out of both
Exactly.
that deepness came the jazz, came the gospel, came
That's
the
right.
R&B, came all of that. So we got to get back to that rudimentary. So I just had to get a
And
little nerdy. Had to get a little nerdy with you.
no, it's okay. That's kind of that is definitely the truth. I mean, I heard you say Andre Crouch. What's funny is, and my sister actually was very close with Andre Crouch. My sister actually sung background for Michael Jackson. So
What?
she was my oldest sister. Her
Using
name
that
is
quality
Natasha
stroke.
Halsey.
Wow.
She was actually a very big pageant queen. She was in the Miss Virginia pageant and won so many different pageants. But yeah, she ended up singing background. So her connection with Sandra Krause, I was too young to be around at the time. But I'm the little brother that brags. That's a big bragging point for me. My sister got to sing with Michael Jackson, so
Yeah,
she
you
was a
hear me?
background singer.
Yeah, between Michael Jackson and Andre Crouch, you had me. Yes. What's her name? What's your sister's name?
Natasha, her name is Natasha Halsey.
Wow. A
Well, actually, you know
legendary.
what? I'm gonna say that right because my brother-in-law will get me. Now she just got married, so now her name is Natasha Halsey Holland. That's her name now.
Okay, put some respect on that last name. Put some
That's
respect on
right.
it. Now,
That's right.
speak about that. Speaking about family, one of the things that you note is that music is wealth. That you want to leave your legacy, your wealth to your children. So, can you talk about yourself in lieu of not just the music, your extended family, but what you've contributed and how you are in the 21st century raising children?
Right. That's actually a great time for me to kind of people that know me. If you kind of even if social media has definitely took over the platform of getting to know people. You have so much access to people that you would have never met before in your life. So one of the things that people do know me was when I did sing with my quartet group. One of the things that I used to always keep with me was my son. And one of the things that my son, I was a mover. I was one that just liked to move and stuff like that. And my son was a mimicker. So he used to be on stage playing his guitar and, he would be shouting around. And it was just everybody kind of fell in love with my son. So my son, he's still, he's a little older. He's 10 now. So
Okay.
he's in his cool stage. So
Yeah,
I don't know if I could get him. I don't know if I can get him on the stage anymore. But he's definitely, he's a singer. He's a musician. He plays keyboard and drums very fluently. And then I have my daughter actually, when we talk about this CD that I actually released on July 17th, I actually have a song up there. It's called I Will Follow You. And it's actually featuring my oldest daughter, which is also a singer and a dancer. My two youngest kids, they're all three singing on the song. And it's actually pretty beautiful. Yeah.
This is a good segue since you talked about your amazing children who are also definitely drawing from the wellspring of your talented family.
That's
Let's
right.
talk about the project.
Okay. Um, when I was in the accident, like I said, we'll get to that. But when I
No,
was in the
actually,
accident, one of the
if you want to, we can
no,
set.
no, no, we can
Okay.
segue to it. It's okay. I came, I was always writing songs for different artists, always. Even with the group that I was singing with, a large percentage of the songs that the group was singing, between me and the leader, we was definitely doing all of the writing. And it just, to me, when I heard the songs, I would write them, and it didn't come over well until I heard somebody else's voice on it. So I would always write for somebody else, and then when I heard it, it was just like, when I would sing it, I would have to sing it in order to, give the artist exactly how it goes. But then when I would let them sing it, I'm like, okay, there it is. This is perfect. And through this story, God has basically revealed to me that it's not necessarily, I'm a pretty good singer. I don't claim to be the best singer. I'm a pretty good singer, but It's not necessarily my voice, that the tone of my voice that
Mm.
is needed for the people. Is just this the fact that on the flip side, it is my voice
Right.
because I'm here and I'm,
Yeah.
I'm my songs have a little bit more passion in them because they're all of my songs was written dealing with what I was going through at the time. So the CD, you can go on your social media. I'll take my little plug time.
Go
You
ahead.
can go on, you can go on any social media outlet, digital media outlet. I'm sorry, Spotify, iTunes, any of those digital media outlets, and type in Reggie Halsey, and it's called 17. And you can just spell out 17. And it's 17 songs, 17 different songs, and I'm featuring so many different artists, quartet, contemporary, my family, my dad, my uncle, my sister, my kids. It's just, it's an amazing CD, and it's all inspirational music, all
Mm.
music basically to tell you to keep working, don't quit. Guys got your back. I mean, it's just everything is
Right.
basically inspiration. It's nothing sad.
Mm.
It's basically just that music when you're really going through to kind of, remind you like, all right, you know what, let's do it. So that CD is that was the latest CD that I came out with on July the 17th, and it's called Reggie Halsey 17. So you definitely should go get it.
Yeah, definitely go get that digital. And I would like to beautifully said 17 songs that are inspirational. So now I would like to get to where the source of the pain and the trauma that birthed this album. So are we talking 2018?
2019.
So,
2019
so what was happening?
October.
Yeah, what was happening in the 2019 that led
uh
to this?
2019, August the 5th, I was on my way to a engagement with the group. Um, and I was kind of going through, because I had a little bit of back problems at the time at my job. I'm actually by trade, I'm a longshoreman. So I drive a big tall crane for work. It's actually called a straddle carrier, and I was having back problems, but I was getting cortisone shots, if you know anything about
Okay.
those.
Yes, I know.
So I wasn't really going to go on the trip, and the group was shorthanded, and I was like, you know what, I'll go ahead and go. Went to New York. On my way back, coming from New York to Virginia is about 5 hours.
Right.
I was literally 7 miles from my car. And my car that I was in, I was asleep, and I had just literally opened my eyes, and we were T-boned. And when we were T-boned, the car flipped over, and it was five of us in the car.
Mhm.
Um, I was the only one seriously hurt, and I couldn't
Mhm.
get out of the car. And I
Mhm.
knew that something was wrong because I was how close my knee was to my face.
Ooh,
And
okay.
I was not crying, but I was just pleading to God. I said, God, don't let me die. And I kept screaming, don't let me die. Don't let me die. Only thing that came to my mind was my kids. I am a avid father. Love my kids to death. And that's all I could think about. Was like, don't let me die. Like I don't want nothing to happen to my kids. And so got in the ambulance, and they got me out. And when I got out, I was just like, okay, I'm good. I'm still alive. I
Mhm.
got in the ambulance, and um, I heard heard one of the people say, he said, he's not going to walk again. And I opened my eyes and I looked at him, and I don't know if he thought I was just kind of out of it. But I opened my eyes and I looked at him, and I was in my mind, I was like, well, how do you know? Like, you just got me, off the. So I
Mhm.
just kind of closed my eyes, went to the hospital. They rushed me to the hospital. I was able to call my mom. Someone to call my mom and my family, and I told them in the same voice that I'm probably telling you right now. I said, "Hey, mom," I said, "I just got in an accident. I think I broke my neck." I said, "But they said I'm not gonna walk no more. But don't worry, I'll be good. I'll walk again." I said it just like that. And my mom, so much so that my mom said, "What?" And I said it again. And I said, "So you probably need to come. I'm at Norfolk General Hospital." And I said, "But they're about to take me back to surgery." So my mom came up there, and
Mhm.
after that time, I don't know if you ever heard people say they see the white light when
Yeah.
they,
Yes.
that's totally true. As
Mhm.
they were doing, I guess it was when they were doing the surgery.
Mhm.
Um, I saw the light, and when I went, I was going towards the light, and never was afraid, never thought I was dying, but I heard literally, as clean as me and you are talking right now, I heard God say, "You're not, you're not. This is not your time. You're gonna be okay. You're gonna be back to normal. It's gonna be hard. You're gonna
Mhm.
have to work, and it's gonna hurt, but you're gonna be okay. Trust in me."
Wow.
So I was just like, I woke up, and when I woke up, I went through some of the most
Mm.
traumatic events from them telling me that I was going to die, when they was going to do certain things to me, and they say you're going to
Mhm.
die, and through that, I was cutting the the expected time that I was supposed to be in the different places. I mean, I was cutting. I was supposed to be in ICU for about a month or two. I was in it for 3 days. I was supposed to be in the step down unit of ICU for about 2 months, and I was in there for about 3 weeks.
Wow.
So maybe a month after the accident, I was in rehab. I was in
Mm, mm, mm.
a full inpatient rehab,
Wow.
and in that patient rehab, in my mind, I'm a very strong-minded person. I come from, I lost 90 pounds. I was full of muscle, so I'm just working out 6 times a week. I was just one of those people that was just very healthy.
Mhm.
So, I'm just like, oh, I got this. I got
Mhm.
this.
Mhm.
One day, my therapist came to me and said, "You need to get used to being in a wheelchair for the rest of your life." Broke me. I mean, I cried and I cried and I cried. I got into bed. I didn't do anything that day. And when I was asleep, God came back to me when I was asleep, and he said, "What did I say? I told you that you was going to be okay. I told you that it's going to take some time, but you're going to be okay. You're going to come back to normal." And when I woke up, I just instantly got
Mm.
that feeling. It was just like, well, whose report are you going to believe?
Believe.
Am I going to believe what they told me I'm going to? And from that point on, I
Believe.
literally believed. I just believed that my legs were going to come back. I would look down at my legs, and I would be trying to move them, and they wouldn't move, and I would not stop. I would not stop moving them. They used to tell me, let's work on your core, because you're going to need to move side to side. And I was like, no, let's work on walking. And they wanted me to stay away from walking because they didn't believe I could do it. The last week, my legs started flinching. Tears was coming out my eyes, and it was the most amazing thing. I was just like, wow, it's coming. And then I ended up coming home and going to another therapist, and they were looking at me like, they were very, 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 they were giving me all this accomplishment, these goals, and saying, "You're doing good and you're doing good." But they just look. I could tell in their eyes that I was bad off. And then COVID happened. So
Ooh.
then
Mhm.
I was home for 3 months with nothing to do.
Ooh.
I can't fend for myself. And you know what? Through that COVID was a blessing to me, because what COVID did was
Mm.
it gave my body time to heal. No therapy, no nothing. It just allowed me to just sit there, and I feel like this is not, anything that was told by a doctor, but in my mind, I really feel like I was able for those nerves and things to kind of slowly get themselves into the position that they needed to be in. Because when I came back to therapy, they were expecting me to be like, when they came back
Affected.
to therapy, yeah, when I came back, they was like, "Yo, who are you? Like, this is not the person that came to us 3 months ago." I was lifting up and doing things like that, and to kind of cut across
Wow.
I was told that I was gonna never walk again,
Mhm.
and just um week before last,
Yes.
just week before last, I took 126 steps by myself, from a person that was never told he was gonna
Hallelujah.
walk.
God is able. God is
You
able.
got
God is
it.
willing. God is
That's
still
right.
working miracles. I'm
That's
looking at a
right.
miracle. Wow.
That's right. That's right. That's right. So it's definitely,
Wow.
I'm just trying to spread the
Yeah.
motivation that, you know the mind the mind is the biggest muscle in your body. The mind is the biggest muscle in your body. What you think, if you don't think it, it's not going to happen. If you don't see it, it's not going to happen. You literally have to believe, and you have to put the work in. And with the faith, I they say, I don't know if you heard the old school saying, if you take one step, he'll take two. So in my mentality, I'm saying, well, you know what, I'm gonna take 20.
And
Because if I take 20, he gonna take 40.
I like that math. I like that math. Yes, yes, indeed.
So, this journey is definitely, people say all the time, I never went down. I had a few times where it was just like, God, why me? But
Yeah.
they always say, well, you should go to a therapist, and I'm like, no, I don't need a therapist. I have the most amazing therapist there is. Anytime that I'm down, I pray to God, and I talk to God, and I'm just like, hey, and I need you right now. And I'm always upbeat. I'm smiling, and I'm a tall figure guy. It could be a little discouraging. I was 230, 6'5", I'm a big guy.
Yeah.
So it could be a little discouraging, but nothing worth having there's nothing easy worth having is easy. If you work hard, the things that really are worth having, sometimes you got to work hard for them. And that's just the mentality that I got. I'm just going to sit here and do what I possibly can and work hard and share my story of my belief in overcoming what a lot haven't. A lot give up, and I'm pretty stoked about this journey.
Yeah, I'm so grateful. I'm really grateful to hear this testimony and to hear how even now, like you said, your new music, 17, is sharing the inspiration from this journey, from this 2-year journey, and to
Right.
know that just within the last 2 weeks.
Just the last 2 weeks, that was my. I've took steps,
Yeah.
but walking literally, no one touching me with a walker. I
Mhm.
took 126 steps just not last week, but the week before that, Thursday. And I was about into tears when I saw it, because I honestly, I didn't even know.
Wow.
I didn't even know I was walking by myself. I was just walking, and I'm a pusher, so I'm in my mind. I'm just, be a bull, be a bull, be a bull, be a bull, and I'm walking. And
Mm.
I just got in the car with my mom, and I almost screamed. I was like, "Yo, Mom, I'm walking by myself," and my mom was like, "I told you, you didn't know it." And I was like, "No." So I was just like so excited, and I'm Facebook and Instagram has definitely become a big part of
Mhm.
my journey. I'm taking them on this journey along with me.
Yes.
So if you follow me, everybody can kind of see. Um, I post a lot, and I post. You can go back and see when I couldn't move at all,
Mm.
and to see that, and then you see the journey of me now. Is just,
Mhm.
I look at it, and sometimes I'm looking at it like I'm looking at somebody else. I'm like, "Oh, that's pretty dope," So it's definitely been a blessing.
Well, Reggie, I am so grateful for your life, first and
Thank you
foremost,
so
and
much,
for this
Christy.
story. I know that the music that you're making, because I had a chance to listen to one of the songs, which is amazing, nice vibe, nice groove, with
Thank you.
that soulfulness to it. I want you all
Yes,
to go to check out all of his social media. I'm going to definitely go back through and see the miracle that you are in progress, and be sure to go to all digital platforms and look for Reggie Halsey,
that's right.
legend, a legend indeed. Look for his new project 17.
And
And
the other one is new to come as well. That's the legacy one. That's what we were speaking of. That's my
yes,
new
legacy.
group. So that's a new group of me and my friends and brothers, and so we're working on the new. It's going to be a new one with my group called Legacy, and we're putting out a new group, a new album, and that's actually to come pretty soon.
Well, congratulations on all the
Thank you so
newness.
much.
And I just want to say this, that I'm really grateful because I did know that you used to do fitness. So salute to you in having that, still a part of that. And I know that you used to be very stylish. So I know that you
Right.
definitely have been portraying that, and it's really been good to see just
Thank you.
the family of love that you have in your social media. And for those who have been inspired by today's story, I suggest you also follow him as well. If you want to follow him on Instagram, a very interesting name, Super
Yes.
Villain, Super Villain. We're looking forward to that. Thank you all so very much. Any last words you want to share before we go?
I don't know. I'm just do your best to do your best to live your best. That's all I can say.
Ooh, that's good. Oh, I received that. Do your best to live your best. Thank you, Reggie.
You're welcome, Christy. Thank you.
And thank you, everyone, for checking us out, the Christie Taylor Show, here inside the Taylor Tilton Hour here on Comcast 31 in Memphis. Watch the replays on YouTube, as well as listen to the show on your favorite podcast platform. Until next time.